Good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I heard someone outside, and so I wasn't sure. I just wanted to check to make sure. Well, good evening to everyone. You all look lovely this evening. You look wonderful. My name is Melanie Posey, and I'm going to be your MC for the evening. And it is a pleasure to be here with you this evening. I did want to start off with a little bit of a disclaimer. So, I had a conference all day today. I planned to wake up at a particular time to get my outfits for the day ready. I woke up an hour later than I should have. So the last minute I'm rushing to find something to wear for both the conference and tonight. So I went to my closet where I keep my formal dresses, and I looked and I said, I'll go with the red, it's festive, it's light. I didn't know I was going to match the decor, but I love it. So I didn't try it on, right? I just said, it'll work, I'll make it work. So after the conference, I'm rushing to get ready, and I put it on, and I look in the closet, and I could hear my 16-year-old daughter say, Mother, that collar looks like Bozo the Clown. So I said, well, maybe I should run home and change. And I said, no, I'm hanging with kids. If there's anybody that can appreciate a clown outfit, it's kids. So I just want to say that if at some point this evening, your child looks at you and says, that lady reminds me of the man we see at McDonald's, I will not be offended. Please just tell them she is a personal cousin of Ronald McDonald, and sometimes they dress the same. All that to say, this collar is killing me tonight, but we're going to make it work. Amen? Because you know what? We are here for a good cause. We are here to laugh and have fun. We are here to celebrate these young people. In fact, let's start the evening by celebrating them with a round of applause. Can we do that? We can do better. 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 That's right. These young people, they have worked hard. We're toward the end of a year. They have worked hard. But not only our kids, can we give caregivers and parents and grandparents and aunties and uncles? Yes. My friend here to my left, she look, you're on it tonight. She's on stand-up duty tonight. So thank you for that, because you understand what goes into caring for these young people. But not only that, can we give those who are part of JCCDC a round of applause as well? Absolutely. You know, we say it a lot, but it's really true. Teamwork really does. It makes the dream work. When you are doing it all on your own and you have someone who will come beside you, you know that teamwork makes a difference. So tonight we're here to celebrate all of you all in the room. I want to start with a little bit of history about JCCDC, just for those of you who may not be so familiar. Of course, the formal name, the Jefferson County Child Development Center. Thank you for that boost in the mic. Wow. JCCDC was established in 1972 with a core focus of addressing the developmental needs of children all across Jefferson County. They provide a range of services that include early education, healthcare, and support for families. Their services encompass cognitive, emotional, physical, and social development of children. So in other words, the whole child. They also have a focus on, and I love this, they have a focus on promoting self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-sufficiency in children and families. Since 1984, JCCDC has been a early Head Start partner, which offers a family-centered program for children ages 0 to 5. They provide a number of other important services that focus on nutrition, screenings for health, development, and behavior, family goal setting, and services for children with disabilities. Lastly, they believe in bridging gaps and building partnerships in an effort to meet the needs of each child and family that they serve. I just really commend you all on the efforts, that you all, your focus, And obviously, as we see in the room tonight, it is making a difference and having an impact, so I commend you all this evening. Just a few of their important points to point out that you might be interested in. Their current Head Start enrollment is 254 children. 212 are in Head Start, 42 are in Early Head Start. They have 21 licensed family child care homes as Head Start partners. They are a collaborative Head Start partner with Birmingham City Schools, which is key. 76 licensed family child care homes as nutrition partners, because we all know that nutrition is huge when it comes to learning. If your stomach is not full, it is hard for you to want to receive and learn. So that is important. They just wrote their new 5-year grant without competition. Congratulations, yes, that deserves a They also have a 15-member governing board, 21 staff members that provide management and oversight, and they are an 8-member Head Start Policy Council. So that gives you just a little bit of an idea of what this organization does. Of course, those in the room that get benefits from their services, you all already know the benefits of it, but I just want to give a little bit of history and factoids as well. At this time, we are not going to belabor the program. We have some special guests who are going to come and bring greetings, so I'm going to call them to the podium now. I'm going to first start with Jefferson County Commissioner Sheila Tyson. She's the Commissioner for District 2. And following that, we will hear from Sybil Scarborough. Sybil is the Senior Manager of Customer Service and Government Affairs Liaison, and she represents Mayor Randall Woodford with the City of Birmingham. And then following that, we will have Dr. Ann Leal. She is the Chair of the Executive Board for JCCDC. Commissioner Tyson.
Thank you so much. This organization is actually, the headquarters is actually in my district. And when I was invited, I really didn't know exactly what to expect. I'm almost in tears. This is so beautiful. Doctor, you doing this. I am left with awe. This is beautiful. The children, y'all got my grandbaby online now trying to find this little pink dress on here. I am committed to do whatever I can to help this organization. I love what you were doing. I knew about the organization, but I didn't put any faces with all of this. And now I have the faces. I'm ready. I've just seen one of my classmates that I hadn't seen in a long time. I have an obligation to do whatever I can to help you. And I do bring you greetings from all 5 county commissioners. And we want the best for our children. We fully understand what y'all are going through. I have a nephew that he's 19 now. So we get it. I'm gonna do everything I can to help this organization. I really am. I'm speechless. Y'all look so good. For real. And then the kids are they just memorable, and just everything is just so nice. And thank you so much for inviting me. You have not seen the last of me, I promise you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Oh my goodness, like Melanie said, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am Sybil Scarborough, and I serve in the Office of Public Information for the City of Birmingham Mayor's Office, and I am delighted to be here this evening. I am trying very, very hard not to shed a tear. So on behalf of the staff, dignitaries here, all other honorees, protocol having been established, I bring greetings on behalf of our mayor. I am trying to hold it together because this is very, very special and very, very dear to me. It's one thing to be a parent, and it comes with no instructions. It's different when you have a child that has different abilities. I am one of those parents. And so when I was asked if I was available to do this, and the mayor deeply sensed regrets that he couldn't be here, but wanted to make sure someone was here. To me, this is more than just an assignment. It is an honor. As the parent of a child who recently became disabled due to a volleyball accident that left her with a traumatic brain injury, I get it. So I say to you, it's an honor to stand here. The children are absolutely beautiful, but to the caregivers and the parents, I applaud you, I laud you. If I could come to every table and give someone a hug, I would do that. We stand here in support of you, and we want you to know that you are absolutely not alone. To this organization, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you, every single teacher, every single administrator, every single person that's having the big conversations, the tough conversations, the ones who have to meet with the parents and the children, to have to give some semblance of understanding. Thank you. Because everybody does not understand. They may not understand your load. As I was getting here, and we all know about the parking and everything, and I don't know about you all, but my Saturday has been a Saturday. And I was trying to put on jewelry in the car, trying to find somewhere to park. And when I pulled it out the bag, this is what it looked like. How many of you, if you really think about it, that sometimes this is what your life feels like? This is a reality. I accept my reality. And then I saw the cutest little girl come in a few minutes ago, and she had one shoe on. I don't know about you all, but it's been a one-shoe day for me today. So I give you we're just so glad to be here and honored. And so on behalf of Mayor Woodfin, we thank you for the opportunity. And there's also a proclamation that is presented as well. And it reads as such, and I'm going to take my big girl glasses off and say what you will. The City of Birmingham Proclamation, whereas the City of Birmingham is honored to acknowledge the Jefferson County Child Development Council Incorporated on the inauguration of its first annual Head Start, and I have mine on, Sneaker Ball. And whereas the JCCDC is proud to serve as an advocate in this community for children with different abilities. From its inception in 1965, this organization has pioneered the way in assuring that children from different incomes were provided with quality early childhood development and educational opportunities to guide our youngest residents, and that's who they are, with special needs along a pathway of success. And whereas growing and grooming talent is not just a dream of this organization, it is also a mission they take to heart every single day, providing comprehensive services, creating programs, and designing opportunities to promote family inclusion and engagement. These children, and I want you to look at everyone at every single table, as it's written in this proclamation, these children are Birmingham's sons and daughters, born with kindness and hearts filled with joy and love. Legacies are being built each time they are imparted with knowledge, education, and great belief to never stop dreaming. They are undeniably destined for greatness. Now, therefore, I, Randall L. Woodfin, Mayor of the City of Birmingham, Alabama, do hereby issue this proclamation in recognition of the Jefferson County Child Development Council's inaugural Head Start Sneaker Ball. And I encourage all residents of the City of Birmingham to rise to the occasion to celebrate the impact this organization is making now and in years to come. Signed, Mayor Randall L. Woodfin. Thank you. stand in that. Yeah, we can take a picture. Oh, okay, okay. We're gonna pivot for a minute while I make this presentation. Okay. We know how to pivot, trust me. So we might have been there. So you can just pass it.
No. She's gonna speak later. She's a speaker.
Okay.
So we're gonna do a photo op. We're gonna make a presentation to Dr. Put your mic down, Dr. Teal. Okay, she needs to get in the picture. You get in the middle, Dr. Teal, you get on the end. Yeah, thank you. No, this end.
We're gonna get this together, everybody. I promise you. Just give us just a moment. Okay, very good. Now you can clap for her.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ann Thiel, pediatrician here in town and a board member for about 25 of the 50 years or so that Jefferson County Child Development Council has been in existence and doing this good work. I have the honor of currently chairing the executive board, which has been delegated a great deal of responsibility for making sure that the organization and its grants run exactly as the federal government intends them to do. And it's quite a responsibility, and I have to give all props and thanks to our wonderful executive director, Earlene Reynolds, who is so knowledgeable and makes sure that every requirement is met. I'm so happy to represent board members, some of whom are here tonight. So happy to represent executive board members, including one of our board members who goes back, who has been on the board, I think 45 years. And has been so diligent in her care and her concern for children and that everything be done right. I'm so grateful, as I think about it, I'm so grateful for the people here. And I thank our distinguished speakers and guests and thank them for the proclamation, for the kind words, for the cooperation that is offered. And like our distinguished Mistress of Ceremonies, I too am so grateful for our beautiful children and the opportunity to serve and provide for them. And of course, none of that would be possible without our tremendous agency staff, many of whom are here and whom you know and who are so closely involved. And with our educational providers, some of whom I've had the honor and privilege to know and to know over these decades, and I celebrate them and their excellent work. I celebrate also our fellows in governance for JCCDC and for the Head Start program, the JCCDC Policy Council, and whose chair is here tonight as well. So much gratitude. Let me also reflect, if I can, for just a minute. Let's reflect on abundance. Let's give our gratitude for the people of our country who have come together and who we have the wonderful grants that underwrite these programs. So we are so thankful for that. And as I'm considering things, I'm also realizing how grateful and thankful I am for this opportunity to have fellowship among all of us tonight, and for the abundance of our country And I am smelling, I believe, some delicious food that is probably soon to come. And I am also so grateful for that. So join me in expressing our gratitude.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Thiel. Forgive me, I am out of order, and she is walking away, but before she does, Dr. Earlene Reynolds, who is the director of JCCDC, can we please give her a round of applause for that? And Dr. Thiel mentioned other board members that are in the room. I'm going to ask if board members, if you will please stand tonight as well, so we can recognize you. If we give them a round of applause. And lastly, any staff that is in the room, if you will just wave at us if you're standing or if you're sitting, you give them a round of applause as well. Excellent, excellent. Thank you all. Thank you. Well, at this point in time, I know that you all don't want to eat, so we're just let's just sit and look at each other. Okay, y'all looking at me like I'm crazy. So we're not going to do that. We are going to partake of our meal at this point in time. Let me get some direction.
Good evening, everybody. So we're going to do this in a little bit of order so that we can eat and we can do this expeditiously. So we're going to assign tables to go out, retrieve your food, bring it back, and then when that table comes back, then the next table goes. So it shouldn't take long because we don't have a crowd of people here. So I think the caterer is ready for us. So we will start here, right? And then I'll tap each table for you to go out and get your food. Thank you.
We appreciate everything you all are doing for our community and our parents. Our parents even appreciate, I think, when you're having little ones, not really sure exactly how to interact sometimes and understand the educational process. You all are doing a great job of doing all of that. And even what you're doing for our special needs kids, that's very powerful for our kids as well. We want to just continue with that, with what you all have developed into Birmingham City Schools as well. So on behalf of the superintendent, Dr. Sullivan, board, and also myself as chief of staff, just want to say thank you, and I hope everyone have a great time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Laura. Also, you guys, this floor is slippery, so please be careful this evening. I promise I'm not up here trying to do break dance moves. Although with this outfit, I guess. But anyway, so 6:30 is when food will be served. So we have about 15 minutes. During that time, I want to let everybody know that there is some beautiful artwork on the back table to my left in the corner that the children have done. If you will, please take a moment to go to the back and just look at what they've done, what they've created. And if you see these young people out and about, please just give them a high five, give them a word of encouragement, give them a hug. Just let them know that they are doing really well. But if you will, make sure you check out that artwork in the back. And again, 6:30.
It's a silent auction. It's silent auction for that artwork.
Okay, so did you all know that it was a silent auction on the artwork? Yes, yes. Okay. So with that being the case, you definitely want to go to the back and check it out. Make sure that you submit a bid. And I'm sure that all the funds are going to be going towards JCCDC and their efforts. So please make sure you check that out. And 6:30, we'll get started. Thank you all. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. May I have everyone's attention, please? and no. So question, who in the room did not enjoy their meal? Raise your hand. That's what I figured. So can we give the catering staff a round of applause? They did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. So we are now ready to continue with the rest of our program now that we've had that awesome meal. We have 2 guest speakers for this evening, and I am going to introduce our first speaker, who is Dr. Richard Rector. Dr. Richard Rector is a developmental psychologist with a specialty in developmental disabilities. He worked for 4 years in a group home for adolescents with behavioral and emotional handicaps. He spent 10 years conducting evaluations of children at the Civitan Sparks Clinics. During that time, Dr. Rector was also the mental health consultant for the JCCDC Head Start program. He is Professor Emeritus from Birmingham Southern College and currently works at Glenwood Behavioral Therapy Center in Avondale. Dr. Rector has 2 children. His daughter attends Auburn University, and his son attends Hoover High School, which is where my daughter goes. His wife is a cochlear implant audiologist at Children's Hospital in Alabama. So can we please welcome Dr. Rector.
All right, so I'm going to make certain that I'm not talking too loud with the microphone. Bring it up closer. Oh, there we go. So I just wanted first to say thank you to JCCDC for inviting me. I've had the pleasure of working with them over this last year. I got to speak at a couple of their trainings, and as you all know, when you're the outsider coming in, and think back to when you've had to do trainings for work or whatever, you didn't really want to be there, but they were very kind to me. They were very nice. I was also thrilled because Willie Glass, who's going to talk here in just a second, is a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine that I haven't seen in a while, but we go back over 20 years. She took part in one of my very first classes that I ever taught at the college level. It was a night class at UAB. It was late. It was like it started at 8 o'clock at night. No one wanted to be there, kind of thing. I was new. I didn't know what I was doing. For any of y'all who've ever taught at any level, when it's the first time you try to teach, there's a lot of wrinkles that you gotta iron out, kind of thing. And she didn't hold that against me. She was kind. Unlike that class, I gave back their exams, the first exam I ever gave back. And 2 people stood up and told me that I didn't know my head from a hole in the ground. They didn't say head, but there's kids here, so I can't say what they said. And that stuck with me, but she stuck with me, and 5 or 6 years later, we worked together for almost 5 years at Head Start together. And so I was thrilled to see her. But when I was asked to come talk, I said, well, what's kind of the focus tonight? And they said, well, we want to talk about early intervention, and we want to talk about especially how it pertains to kids who might need some accommodations, who might have some special needs, how can we be more inclusive of those kids? And obviously, personally or professionally, that's all I've done for the last 30 years, but personally, this hits home because I have a special needs son. My son is 17. He is severely impacted with autism. He's nonverbal. I had to run out of here just a few minutes ago because my babysitter flaked on us, and even though he's 17, he has to have somebody with him at all times. And I run home and beg my neighbor to come over. It's those kind of things, and that's why I wanted to be here specifically, because I know where, especially you family members who have had to deal with this or who are currently dealing with these sorts of things, and you're having to fight for everything. You're having to fight for assessments. You're having to fight for therapy, accommodations, respite care. evaluations that your child desperately needs and for some reason can't get. I've been there. I know exactly what that's like. And I want you to know how much I admire and we admire the struggle that you all have to go through every day to be good parents to your children. So thank you for having me. I've got my little notes here, but I wanted to start with, let me just give you a little insight into my boy Ross. And Ross is my 17-year-old. He was my second child, and he was my first boy. And so for the dads in here, you know what that's like. You're here, you're going to have a boy, and you just envision what that's going to look like. I'm going to teach my kid how to throw a spiral. I'm going to teach my kid how to play ball. I can't wait to have this. And then, unfortunately, shortly into his life, we started to see that he wasn't developing the way the other kids were. In about 13 months, he was already in early intervention. He was getting PT, OT, speech, behavior therapy. We drove him around for 5 years. Every specialist we could get, eventually preschool, and from age 3 on, he was in the Lutheran school system, the special education program. I tell you this because, all along the way, we've had to fight for those sorts of, for him to be included, for him to be treated like one of the other kids in the class, for him to be accepted in the class, and, fortunately now he's at a place where he's as happy as he's ever been. He's loved. The people in his school include him, they're kind to him, they take him around, they treat him as one of theirs. There's a little girl who is his girlfriend, but he doesn't know it. He doesn't really understand, but she tells everybody there that that's her man, and she makes certain he gets his tray of lunch every day, and she sits with him and she holds his hand. And he's perfectly oblivious, but men are. So I'm telling you, it can get better. But that's what we're doing here with JCCDC. We're trying to catch it in the beginning. We're trying to get it to where these kids that we're working so hard for don't have to struggle as much. Who are in a program that's going to meet them where they're at, sort of thing. And so we want to work with that, and of course, I'm just lost where I was at, but let me go ahead. I'm so sorry. I get off on talking about my son, and then I kind of get a little emotional. I need to rein it back in. So we're here to celebrate kids like Ross. We're here to celebrate your kids. We want you to understand that they're special, that their voice should be heard, that this is who we are meant to help, that we want to meet them where they're at and help build them up. And that's what we're going to do. That's what JCCDC's whole purpose is in doing. In their community service, in their teaching, this is what we're supposed to be doing. And so we want to keep doing that. We want to do it in a way that matters. We want the kids to know they matter. We want them to know that they don't just matter, they matter profoundly. This is important. This is what they should be doing. We've got to do that by changing the way we view our children, especially our children with special needs. We need to change the lens, because while they may have a disability in early childhood, we often talk about words like accommodations and interventions and that sort of thing. But what we really want to understand is the disability doesn't define who they are. It may be a part of who they are. It may make their life a little more challenging, but it is not their identity. We need to see past the disability, see the kid that they can be, and hopefully help them grow. Disability is a form of diversity. These are a part of our community, and diversity makes all communities a little bit stronger. And so what can we do? Well, what we want to do is create an inclusive classroom. We want a place where all kids can go, all kids can be accepted. An inclusive classroom is a way of making certain that the kids aren't just getting support, but those kids that need it, they are also helping the other kids in that classroom learn. They're learning how to be empathetic, they're learning how to be kind, they're learning how to see the world from a different point of view. Your child with special needs and my child with special needs can have a gift in a way that they can change people's lives. They can see, they can have people slow down, see through their eyes, and accept them for where they're at. They help people be better people. And let me give you this example. My child was 6th grade going into middle school, very difficult time for him. Puberty hit, and Ross was struggling. And he never had a behavior problem in his life, and suddenly he was hurting himself. It's called, we love to give names to things. We call it self-injurious behavior. But he was hurting himself. He'd get these rages and bite himself. And really, we were at our wits' end, and he started middle school, so he's now in a new school with new teachers, and just an awful score. And so I go to this school, it's their first little party they're going to have. And so I go to the party. I want to be there, maybe see his teacher, see what that looks like. And I walk in, and there's 10 kids with special needs. And there's probably 10 to 15 kids who are typically developing. And there's clearly a party, there's cake and stuff. And then I noticed my little boy is sitting in the corner at a table with just one other little girl in the corner. And of course, Daddy's heart's breaking because here it's supposed to be an inclusive party, and my kid's stuck in the corner. So of course, as you all know, when you get your feelings hurt, that switches pretty quickly to being angry kind of thing. So now I'm bubbling up, and I'm going to go make a butt out of myself. And there's clearly, I don't have my poker face on because a woman who I didn't know immediately steps in front of me. And she puts a hand on my chest, and she goes, I just, before you say anything, I want you to just watch. And I said, I don't need to watch, I see what's happening here. And she said, no, that's my daughter with your son. And I want you to just watch for a second. And I'm watching, and I can see she's special needs also. And I'm like, I don't know why you're so calm about this. And she goes, just watch. And they're sitting there, and they get their plates, and neither one of them are talking, because my son's nonverbal, I don't know about her. But then she reaches over to his plate, takes a cookie, and pops it in her mouth. And I thought, well, she's going to lose a hand if she does that again, because Ross likes to eat. And I once found Ross when he was 3. I'd hidden the donuts on top of the refrigerator. And I once walked in, there were 2 dozen Krispy Kreme, and he's sitting up there like a sugared up gargoyle, and he'd eaten 19 Krispy Kreme donuts before I'd stopped him. So I thought, this is not going to go well. I don't know who this woman is, but she's in for a show. And then I noticed that he reaches over on her plate, pops a potato chip in. And for the next 10 minutes, they eat each other's plates. No fussing, no anger. And yet somehow they're perfectly okay with this. And I asked her, she goes, they realize that our 2 kids eat all the other kids' food. And it causes just chaos every time they do it. So they sit together and they eat off each other's plate and they become best friends. Again, I was going to act a fool before I understood that there was a method to the madness. They found something that worked for my kid, and that's what we're trying to do with JCCDC and your kids. We're trying to find a way to meet them where they're at. And we need to do this. Because what we know about inclusive classrooms is they work. They work because, not because research tells us they work, which it does, but they work because everyone needs a chance. And our kids need a chance. And they need a chance to be in the least restrictive environment possible. They need a chance. That may be a few accommodations. It may be, a little therapy here and there. But these kind of inclusive environments, they build social emotional skills. They deepen friendships. They foster belonging. More than that, your child gets to be seen, they get to be heard, and they get to be valued. They're not just getting help. And that, everyone needs that, and so do our kids. Because this isn't placing your child in an environment or in a classroom. JCCDC wants to build a classroom around your child and your child's needs. I want you to imagine an early childhood classroom. I want you to, where every single child, regardless of ability, feels like they belong in that classroom. I want to stress that again, where every child feels like they belong there. Where wheelchairs, communication devices, sensory aids, sign language, where all of that is just part of the day-to-day learning environment and no one looks twice at it. That's the goal. That's what we're looking for. And I know that sounds like a pie in the sky, head in the clouds kind of situation, but it's not. This is where education should be heading, and that's what JCCDC is going to try to do. Then we're starting it early and hopefully building it up lifelong where they are accepted at every level of education. And we were just talking about that, and we mean every level, all the way up to the college level. Every level, they need to be accepted. In the end, what we want to see is that it begins with the belief that your child is not broken. Your child is not broken. There's a woman by the name of Temple Grandin. She is a PhD, a published author. She's the first person to ever write an autobiography of what it's like to have autism, because she has autism. And in it, and she's very famous for this, that she said, we are different, but we are not less. We are different, but we're not less. And so we're here to celebrate your child's difference and celebrate my child's difference. And that's what we want to do. We want to be able to celebrate their humor, celebrate who they are, their bravery. We want to honor their journey and how they walk through it. But we can't do this alone. I want you to understand that above all, the parents are the ones that we've got to lean on. Parents are the first teacher. Parents are the first advocate for your child. You all know more about your child than anybody that's going to be with your child. So you know them, you know what their strengths are, you have your insight, you have your stories, you have your love. This is what you need to bring to the educational meetings. When you go into suddenly it just got loud again. When you go into an IEP meeting, I want you to understand that whether it's an education plan, whether it's some kind of assessment that is going to give a label to your child, that they are more than that. They are more than that, and more than what any textbook or any paper you get. I don't know what's happening right now. So I'm going to try to hold it down here for a second. Is it? Let's see. Is it yours? I think we're okay now. All right, so let me start to wrap it up. What I want us to do is I want us to stop asking children to fit into the current system, and I want us to create a system that fits our children. That's what I want. That's what I'd like us to see. We need to be flexible, we need to meet them where they're at, and we need to build them up. And that's what we want to do. And we can do that with parents, we can do that with teachers. We want to celebrate your children. We want to share a commitment to build an educational world where your child doesn't have to prove that they're worthy, because we already know they are. We've seen it, we recognize it, and we value it. And in the end, I want everyone here, thank you for all you do. Thank you for allowing JCCDC and where I work, Linwood, to work with your children. Thank you for sharing them, and I'm hoping that they learn as much as we learn from them. So, thank you so much for having me. Now it's gone. Thank you so much. Well, let's stay on.
They need to take a break for this.
Good evening. It is a privilege and an honor to introduce to you our second guest speaker, Mrs. Willie Glass. Willie is a dedicated scholar and fierce advocate for children with disabilities. As a doctoral student at Alabama A&M University, she is committed to advancing research, influencing policy, creating lasting changes in the field of social work and disability advocacy. Her strong academic foundation includes a Master's of Social Work from Alabama A&M University, following attainment of dual bachelor's degrees in psychology and social work from the University of Alabama at Birmingham. This diverse educational background equips Willie with a deep understanding of human behavior, social systems, and the importance of equitable support for vulnerable families in our communities. Through her academic and professional pursuits, Willie remains a driving force in the field, blending expertise, compassion, advocacy to create a more inclusive and supportive world for children and families. Please join me with welcoming Ms. Willie Glass as she comes to the podium as our guest speaker.
Thank you so much. I am delighted to be here, and I appreciate being here and looking out in the audience. All I can say is parents, educators, the community, thank y'all for supporting these babies, because at the beginning it's a community and at the end it's a community. And I say that because listening to Dr. Rector and starting my journey, and let me do my disclaimer. I stand before you all as a parent and a grandparent today. I'm taking off the professional hat. And the reason I say that is because sometimes a profession, it finds you. It chooses you. Sometimes we go in a profession with a heart, or, through modeling, we look at it from a different world, but when a profession chooses you, you don't realize it until you're in it. And that's what happened to me. When I listened to Dr. Rector, and when Dr. Rector talked about our relationship and the history of our relationship, it takes me back on my first journey, because yes, he was correct. We met, I was an undergrad student, and he was teaching abnormal psychology. And me sitting in his classroom and listening and studying abnormal psychology, I realized, this is my daughter he's talking about. just paying attention in reference to what we were studying. And when we are looking at our children's child development, especially 0 to 5. 0 to 8, 0 to 5 is very important. Because this is when those babies are developing. And the thing about child development, that age group 0 to 5, when we're seeing, I say all the time, this era is different. It's different from when my girls was growing up to now. And when you're looking at child development, and unfortunately autism, yes, it is on the rise. It's not a given. Some of us, we are in it because that's what God saw fit. Let me say that. But when you're looking at children from 0 to 5 and you're watching for those red flags, which is very important, and you see those red flags, you want to act on it. And that's what I love about Head Start. Head Start is looking for those red flags in order to support children and families. And when Dr. Gregory talked about inclusion is very important, and I will start with that. And so today I stand before you to talk about the importance of inclusion and to share my personal journey with special education in the past and today. Inclusion is important because it's not just about access, it's about belonging. It is about recognizing the potential in every student and ensuring that disability does not define their opportunities. And when we say inclusion, we're talking about in every aspect of that child and family's life. We want those children to be included all the way around from a holistic perspective. Throughout history, education has been a powerful force for change, shaping individuals, communities, and societies. But for generations, students with disabilities were excluded from the fundamental rights, left on the margins, denied access, and told their potentials was limited. Today we stand at a pivotal moment, a moment where inclusion is no longer just a goal, but a necessity. Special education is more than just the academic support. We talk about academics, but special education is full circle as well. It is about equity, dignity, and opportunity. It ensures that every child, regardless of ability, and I like what you stated. You stated, and I wrote it down, with a different ability. When you said that, because we say disability. Disability, special education, goes way back. When we use those terms, it takes us back. How many in here are 70s children? And 80s and 90s. I know you don't want to tell your age, but 60s. But we gonna roll that 60s. When we think about special education back then, what do we think about? We have a negative connotation on special education. Am I right? Short bus. And when we use that term today, what is that connotation? It's still negative. I call it our country's trauma. Because of the history of special education, when those babies need those supports, I've been doing this for 20 years plus. And when I speak with families, I don't even use the term special education because I already know it's going to turn a deaf ear. When I talk about a child receiving services or a child with great ability, those are the terms I have to use in order to get that parent's attention. And it could be a young parent, and I have her attention, but when she go home and share with her family, and then because her family is from our era, she comes back and says, well, no, I think he's okay. I think I don't need that. And that's just because of the negative connotation that comes with special education, that comes with a child with a disability, and now today, because a child has a diagnosis of autism. And I tell people, and when I say in reference to, I come from a parent's perspective and a grandparent. So let me share with you the reason I say that. It goes back in history. In the 70s, special education was secluded. That's why some of you all can relate and talk about that negative connotation, because back when special education was secluded, you was put in a classroom over there with a child from 5 on up, and that is where you stayed. We don't have them conversations today, but we know about them, but we don't talk about it. But it's in the back of our mind what special education means. So when we get our grandchildren and our grandchildren need special education, that's what we think about. But that's not the case today, and I'll get to that. But my journey was special education back then when my brothers was put in that classroom. And because they was put in that classroom, and I have to say this, God is good, because I had my whole story and I don't even need it. I don't even need my key points. They was put in that classroom and they was limited. So when they became of age, like Dr. Rick talked about, and let me say this, we're working for your child's future now. This is not about their age or where they are now. This is for their future. This is for you to hear, receive the resources, and work hard to make sure they succeed. This is what this is about. Yes, we're celebrating them. And we're celebrating their uniqueness. It's a lot of art back there. This is their uniqueness, but it's all about their future. I want y'all, when y'all leave here and you look at your babies, I need for you to see them 10 years from now when they're 14 to 15. And where you need for them to be. Where you want to see them when they get there. So I go back to inclusion. Inclusion is important. I'm going to go to my brothers. They was limited. And because they was limited, they did not recognize their abilities until they became adults. Because back then in the 70s, they was trying to understand how to place these children, and that was about the most they could do. But then as my brothers grew older, one, he could take a car apart and put it back together. The other one, he became the businessman. So that means regardless of the school system limited them, they still was blessed to maneuver and accommodate. In our era, we knew how to do that. Did we not? We knew how to maneuver. We knew how to accommodate. So I'm going to bring you up to when the school system and the law said we're going to mainstream in the year in the 90s to 2000s. I had that journey again with my own daughters. I call it 3 generations. My own daughters, when they reached high school, well, 3rd grade on up. Thank God for the teachers because they recognize red flags again. And with accommodations and what we call mainstreaming to the parents, I want you to understand inclusion, the term inclusion. And when you keep that phone in your hand, research it. Understand inclusion, understand mainstream. In year 2090s on up, they began to mainstream. My daughters benefited from that because they was able to be in general ed and not what they call self-contained. So because they was able to benefit from inclusion and a lot of advocacy, self-educated, I was pushed in the corner and had to self-educate myself about IEPs, about appropriate services, assessments. If you don't know the language, you might get got. That's the best way I can put it. And the reason I'm using that term is because I want you to understand you must self-educate yourself. I call special education a safety net for me. it's no longer a negative connotation. It's a much needed service in order for your child to succeed if that's what your child needs. So with my girls, that safety net, they was able to graduate high school and move on to college. Both of them are in allied health, physical therapy, and admissions coordinator. Okay? But it doesn't stop there. Because I thought I was done. I succeeded. I got both my girls in hospital, college, they got a career, and I have two grandsons. One with the diagnosis of autism and one more than likely will be. And it's okay. And let me say this. When we say talk about inclusion, because I said diagnosed with autism, that is not sorrow for me. That is not sorrow. That is delight. Because I was prepared for them and then realized I was in preparation for them. And everything about my grandsons, I see their uniqueness. My husband tells me all the time, I don't see autism. And you don't supposed to. You have to see them. You must see them before you see autism. And then you have to find their strengths. Know their strengths. Even with my daughter, I had to learn how she learned. Because with my daughter, I couldn't figure out she has ADD and attentive type. And I couldn't figure it out, and I would literally demand that she learn the way society says you must learn. Society, that's another challenge. Society tells us this is the way we're supposed to do this. And then we conform doing just that. But now we're learning, kids with autism, that's not how they do that. Autism is a social disorder. That's why you see the social awkwardness. That's why you see the sensory overload. It's not typical what society say they must do. So I urge you as parents to learn how your child learns. And that is what I had to do with my daughter. I had to learn how she learned. And then I was able to teach her. And that was only in parents. You know, that I learned how she learned. So I say to you, and that's even with my grandson, my grandboys. I have to learn how they learn because again, this area is different. It's in my personal, like Dr. Ricker said, when you talk about your own children, you get emotional. And I sit and I watch two grandsons who are nonverbal, can't talk to each other. Imagine the heart of heaviness. You know, but they teach each other, like Dr. Rector said. They teach each other. And the one with autism, I have to rely on him to teach the other one. You know, that's powerful. That's powerful. I have to rely on the one with autism to teach the other. They both the same age. And I have to follow his lead. So that is his uniqueness. He's unique. He's very detailed. Very detailed. He may come in here and he may see the lights, but he may tell you it's a white spot up there. That's his uniqueness. Okay? So I say to you all in reference to children with different abilities. Children with different abilities. Please don't allow the education system to put you in a box. Let me say that. Allow them to be your ally, but you got to self-educate yourself in order to understand what special education is all about. It is no longer a negative connotation. It is a partnership. It is a partnership. And more than likely, your team at your school, they are there to support you. I know some of these babies are going to kindergarten, and I know that in reference to just being prepared, make sure you speak with your team. Make sure you talk, because they're readily waiting to provide you that support. And I must go back to this. When they talk about inclusion, make sure you understand what a least restrictive environment is. Make sure you understand that. Make sure you understand placement. Make sure you understand what determines placement for your child. Make sure you understand progress. Make sure you're having those conversations about your child's progress. Because again, this is not for now. This is for your child's success 10 to 15 years from now. And I say that with passion, because 10 or 15 years from now, just like Dr. Rector mentioned in reference to when your son is born, you already have ideas. Keep them ideas. Keep those ideas. That does not change your ideas because your child received a diagnosis, okay? And last but not least, your mental health. I know it can be overwhelming. I watched my daughter. When she first received the diagnosis, it was very overwhelming. Actually, she went into a grieving process. I did too. I did too. But then as we continue to advocate, we continue to research, we had to dive into it, it got lifted, and yes, a grieving process. If y'all understand the steps to a grieving process, anger, bargaining, denial, all of that, I watched her go through. So therefore, your mental health is important. Connect with the community. Connect with friends, support group, give yourself a break. It's okay. It's even okay when you feel like, I never felt so defeated. Just going through this process with my grandson transitioning to kindergarten, and I felt like I was just defeated. I felt defeated because it's a big process. It's challenging. So my mental health, so I had to step back because it happens. We won't say it out loud, but I believe in mental health. You know, and when it becomes overwhelming, it's okay. Connect with somebody when it does, okay? Because it's very important. You have to take care of you in order to take care of your child. So it's funny. I guess this was meant for me to say it like this because I ain't saying them was on this paper. I feel like giving you all my personal journey was most important versus my profession, because we can come in and we can stand with the titles, but that's not me. If you ever came in contact with me, I'm going to give you me. And I'm going to give you, I believe in lived experience is the best experience. Lived experience, in my opinion. And y'all, I got a lot of it. And it's ironic that special education, as well as Head Start, I have 20 plus years in Head Start. So I know the supportive services that Head Start gives. I pray that Head Start continues to stay around. Because it is the pillar of the community. And we all know that Head Start is the pillar of the community. So I pray that it continues to stay around and my personal journey is just true to my path that has led me to support Head Start families for these 20+ years. I thank y'all, and I appreciate you all inviting me, having me, and allowing me to share my personal story.
Can we give Mrs. Glass, soon to be Dr. Glass? And Dr. Director, another round of applause, please. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your experience. And are you open if folks want to come and talk to you and get your number? And so, resource right in the room for folks. I would take her up on that. You can tell there's a wealth of knowledge there, so thank you again for sharing that. At this time, we are going to move into the awards portion of our program. So Charvae and Latasha, if you all will come forward, Charvae Williams and Latasha Holyfield with JCCDC.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So at this time, what we want to do is we want to honor our babies. We thank you all for entrusting your children with us. We really take this role very seriously. And now we would like to award them for their progress over the school year. So when I call your child's name, please come up and accept an award. Alea Johnson. Eager Cornelio. Ava Tab. Micaiah Davis. Autumn Harris. Kason Wright. Kyle Little. Chozon Wallace. Jordan Saxton. Gael Gonzalez. Cody White. Kamari Williams. Chloe Martin. So now we would like to introduce one of our parents who's going to come up and receive an award for her child, Lamir McIntyre. Introducing Miss Lanidra McIntyre. Good evening. Oh, he's here now. Here. Okay, I'm not a professional, so just bear with me.
First, I'd like to thank JCCDC for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Lenidra McIntyre, and I'm a proud parent of Lemire McIntyre. He's a student in Mrs. Melton's class, and I'm here to share a bit of his journey, Lemire's journey, to becoming a student at JCCDC, and how he has not only adapted, but truly thrived in this program, despite his diagnosis of autism. Lemire was diagnosed at the age of 3 while in daycare. At the time, the news was devastating to me. It opened my eyes to understand that his lack of verbal communication wasn't just stubbornness. It was something deeper. Along with the fear and uncertainty came the challenge of finding the right resources and the support. I kept Lemire in the same routine, afraid that no other facility would accept him or understand him, mainly because of his limited communications and the difficulty to understand or comprehend. But then JCCDC reached out when Lemire was 4, offering him a spot in their Head Start program. At first, I hesitated, like many parents. I feared how society would view my son and how many others might treat him. However, one thing about JCCDC is they never gave up on us. They stayed in contact, offered reassurance, and made me feel like Lemire would be safe and supported. Eventually, I did take a leap of faith. I trusted the process. I shared Lemire's challenges and delays with the team, and they welcomed him with open arms. I watched Lemire's face light up when we attended the open house. He immediately felt comfortable, as if he knew that he was where he belonged. And this was during a time where he was nonverbal. Since August 2024, his progress has been nothing short of amazing. He is more vocal and more communicative, engaged with his classmates and teachers, and loves participating in class activities. Lemire. He now has an IEP plan, receives speech services, and is surrounded by a team helping him to prepare for kindergarten. This journey isn't over, but thanks to JCCDC, it becomes so much smoother, and I will be forever grateful. Having a child with a disability can be overwhelming challenges. I'm sorry, I like to cry. But it always brings incredible joy to any other parent on a similar path. Remember to breathe, know that you're already doing so much for your child just by trying. Find your village. In our case, our village found us. It's okay not to have the answers. None of us is perfect, but don't be afraid to reach out. Trust the professionals and have faith in the process. Because even though Lemire can say even words at the time, he felt it was the right place for him. And he was right. Lemire has also inspired me to do more, not just for him, but for others. Because of his journey, I became a community advocate. I started Juicy Sunday Funny, which will be throughout the city of Birmingham, a safe, welcoming spaces where the community can come together to have fun, network, and share resources. This event are all about community connection, support, and acceptance for everybody, no matter their background or disabilities. The journey still continues. Thank you again.
Did you ladies want a picture with Lenidra in the back right now? Or do you want to get one afterwards? Want to get one? Okay. If you can go to the back, ma'am. And at this time, we are going to call for awards for our special guests. I'm putting you all in 2 places. Is that okay? Okay. And right now, I'm only seeing one, so I'm going to ask if Dr. Thiel will come forward, please. And I see her in the back. Sybil, if you will come forward, because there's a special presentation for you as well.
Yes, she is out there.
All right. Can you guys hear me out there? All right. All right. So, Dr. Stringer, will you join us? Mr. Captain. Ms. Brianna Jackson. All right, ladies. On behalf of Jefferson County Child Development Council, we thank you so very much for taking part in our celebration tonight. All of what we do is because of the people in our lives that help support children and families. So we would be remiss if we did not just honor and acknowledge your presence and for your taking the time to share this moment with our children and families. So thank you all. And it's a little something from us. Thank you. All right, and then finally, Miss Willie Glass, could you come up front here? Well, tonight, thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for all that you do daily to help our children, achieve great success. And just listening to your story, it kind of took me back too. So please don't ever give up that passion, don't ever lose it, and just keep being an advocate and keep advocating for these children and families, because you truly make them a much better people. So thank you so much. So on behalf of JCCDC, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you. All right, guys, so it's been an evening, right? Right? So we are about 17 minutes ahead of schedule. And so what we want to do is just kind of warp speed this, right? So we saw what the children can do, on their own. So we're going to turn it over to the DJ. And then we're going to end this night on a happy note. I want to say thank you. I'm supposed to have closing remarks, so please allow this to be my closing remarks. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for celebrating with us. Parents, thank you for trusting us with the care, the health and safety, and the education of our children. And to our community partners, thank you for being there with us while we continue to do what we were meant to do for the children and families in Jefferson County. So, we're about to do what we came for, right? Yeah. Boots on the ground. One more thing, guys. If you notice when you came in, there are some boxes right in the atrium. So those are goodie boxes for the children. So please, when you're leaving, make sure you pick up 1 or 2 boxes and take them home with you, right? I had a little joke that we had some shoes for sale, sneakers for sale, but it's really the goodie bags for the children. So enjoy.
Thank you.